Now that the government shut down, we're probably going to see major cuts in federal spending because of this guy. The government's been shut down for a couple of days because the Democrats just didn't get what they wanted in negotiations, but they may have just handed Trump and Doge a major win. So we're going to talk about the government shutdown and how it plays into Trump's hand of cutting federal funding moving forward. But before we do, my name is Rick. I hope you turn daily news into daily profits. If that's something you're into, make sure you follow this page. Early on in Trump's administration, you remember that Elon was a part of the team, and he was in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, and they were tasked with cutting government expenses so that we could ultimately eat into the national deficit. And the whole time, Elon's team has been in there looking at how the federal government is spending money and trying to make cuts. The Democrats have pushed back, saying that Elon wasn't elected and he shouldn't have the ability to go in there and make cuts the way he has, going as far as to vote against some of these cuts and not giving them the ability to make the cuts. But now a new problem arises for the Democrats. They're not meeting anymore. So that means nothing is really standing in the way of Trump making cuts or Doge making cuts. You see, there's an act called the Anti-Deficiency Act, which is a federal law that guides the government through shutdowns. Federal agencies are not permitted to spend funds. The Government Accountability Office outlines, except for a limited set of missions, such as performing constitutional duties. The executive branch is charged with interpreting those exceptions. So let me break this down. Since Congress can't meet, they don't have the ability to vote on how we're spending our money. So in steps in the Office of Management and Budget. And what they're tasked with is, since the government is shut down, they have to decide what's necessary and what's not necessary in order for the country to continue moving forward. And in order for certain agencies to get funding, that funding has to be deemed necessary. And so if it's not deemed necessary, the Office of Management and Budget can say, we're not going to give you money for that. And then the agencies that are asking for funding have the ability to ask for exceptions for things that they may think they need but aren't necessary. And as you can see, the executive branch is charged with interpreting those exceptions, meaning that if agencies want additional funding that he doesn't deem something that's necessary, he can say, you're not getting an exception. And immediately when I started researching this, I thought of this guy. So to recap, Trump doesn't have the ability to make additional cuts, but the government does still have to run and be operational to some capacity. In steps in the Office of Management and Budget. Then agencies will ask for additional funding that they deem exceptions, but he's the one that has the ultimate ability to grant that exception or not. So we may start seeing a whole lot of federal funding being saved rather than spent.